Good morning, Kitchen Witches. This is your tarot and menu inspiration for the day. I'm Chef Lisa, editor-in-chief of A Chef's Grimoire magazine. We're going to pick one card that's going to be everything we need to know for the day, including what meals we'll make for the day. So let's get to it. We're going to shuffle one more time. Alrighty. Ready? The card is the Emperor, a major arcana, numbered 4. The Emperor is all about structure, right? It's about, okay, so the Fool starts their journey. They take the first step off the ledge, the precipice, the mountain, the ledge, right? And they fall into the world of the magician. And the magician teaches them, look, you have everything you need to get through life, period. And this is how you use it, right? Then they say thank you, and they move on to the high priestess, who now teaches them not only what their magic can do, but how the magic comes in. And it comes in via the universe, right? It gets downloaded into us. So the high priestess conduit between the veil, what's tangible and what's not tangible, right? So she can bring all of that into your world, which she teaches how the Fool to do. Then we move, the Fool says thank you, and we move on to the Empress. Now, the Empress is doing grounding work. They're teaching the Fool to listen to the bird song, to walk through the meadow with the dew-dropped grass with bare feet, to smell the pungent decay of the rotting wood and the mushrooms, the earthy scent of the mushrooms, right? To see the rainbow in the distance after a rainfall. So it's what's around you, and to take it in and to honor it and to know it, right? Because it's so easy to just take it for granted. So that's what the Empress teaches. Then they say thank you, and the Fool moves on to a much more structured, a much more laid out and very methodical way of working with the elements, right? The Emperor is father figure. If the Empress is mother figure in the card, then the Emperor is our father figure. But they rule their kingdom very, of course, with structure, and everybody needs to know their boundaries. But they also have a soft side. So let's get into a little of the symbolism of the card, and it'll show you what I mean. So first of all, we have this elderly man. He's sitting on a stone throne, right? The throne, first of all, when the major arcanas are seated, they are very comfortable in their power. So they don't need to stand and say, and rule with an iron fist. No, they know their power. They're comfortable in, they don't feel like someone's going to take it from them, right? They know that it's theirs. So therefore, they can relax a little bit. And that's exactly what they're doing when they sit down. So, so he's seated on this stone throne. Not very comfortable, I might add. But the stone is not going anywhere. It's structure. It's a chair, 4 legs, right? Structure. So also depicted on the throne are ram's heads. And ram is the astrological sign for Aries. And Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. And Mars is all about passion and drive. It is all about, it's representative of war, right? So the taking of things, which is one of its strongest, its strongest assets, Mars. It's the element or the planet of war and wartime. And this elderly gentleman has seen that, right? They also wear, beneath their red robes, which red is for passion, they wear a suit of armor. So they're ready for battle at any time. And they're not afraid to go out and fight for what they believe in. But it also shows that they're protected, right? They're protected. They can be comfortable in their stone bench or their stone throne, comfortable with their power, but be ready to do what it takes to defend it if need be, and defend their kingdom. There are mountains in the background, but they're in the background. And again, mountains are stone structures. So going back to being very structured. Yeah. Now, getting back to the softer side of this card, there is a stream that runs behind the emperor where they're sitting. So water in tarot is representative of our emotions, because water is the element that holds cups, which is our emotions. So they're not void. The emperor is not void of being emotional. They are, but they also know that everything needs to have its place. And if it's out of place, then it needs to be brought back to its place. So with the armor on, they're not, they're willing to do what it takes to make that happen. So, a major arcana. If we bring this card into our world today, what is in your world that gives you structure, right? What can you fall back upon when things get awry or out of hand? For some people, it's just taking a moment and, if they can, retreating. Not to retreat for being like cowardly, but just a step back, to collect their thoughts, to collect their emotions, to start from a clean slate, to go back in to correct if need be. Yeah. So that might be a structure and how you use structure in your life. Another way could be keeping everything nice and neat. Yeah. So, in my kitchen, I make sure, it could be blown up and a mess when I'm in the middle of cooking, but prior to walking into the kitchen and prior to leaving, my kitchen is, as you can see, I don't keep a lot of things on the countertop that aren't practical. And everything is in its place. Let's just put it that way. A good mise en place in my kitchen. And that makes me feel structured, ready for the next task ahead, which could be, making 6 different meals at once. So that is my retreat every time. I retreat back to making the kitchen be ready for the next task. And then I don't have to think about it. So that's where I rule my kitchen in a structured way. So what is it that you do that brings you structure and brings you, everything nice, neat box before you move on to something else? Think about that today. Now, we're going to bring our friend into the kitchen and we're going to make, what else? Structure and organization to our meals. So for breakfast, we're going to do traditional breakfast because, again, they're a traditionalist. They like things nice and neat on the plate. They don't mix things together. This is the protein, this is the starch, this is the vegetable. So we're doing sunny side up eggs with bacon and hash browns. Easy, right? I'm sure you've done it a million times. If you want to buy a bag of frozen hash browns and not do them yourself, fantastic. If you want to do more of a hash and not hash browns, which are usually grated, you can chop everything up, nice little baby cubes, and do it on the stovetop in a cast iron pan, or roast it in your oven and then finish it in the pan to get the char, a little bit char on it. But the sunny side up egg, easy, right? Easy, guys. So that plus the bacon, you can fry up or do it in your oven. But a little of the bacon grease goes into the hash, right? So that you're not wasting anything. It's all about structure. It's all about organization, not letting anything go to waste. For lunch, I'm thinking beef shish kebab with rice and tomatoes. So the tomatoes are going to be either grilled or baked in the oven so that they're soft and they intensify in their flavor. And then the shish kebab, just, chuck roast or, top sirloin, cube it up. You can marinate it if you wish, or just skewer it onto the skewers with some bell pepper, zucchini if you wish, or they could just be meat, which are marinated. And then into the broiler, on the grill, or into the oven they go. Yeah, your choice. Take them off the skewer. The meat is here, the rice is here, and the tomato is here on the plate. Beautiful structure and nourishing. For dinner, we're going to do a roast chicken. Any kind of chicken. You can do a whole chicken, you can do just the thighs, you can do just the breast, you can do the legs, but you're going to roast it. And you're going to serve it with roasted potatoes and carrots. Now, if you're going to do both carrots and potatoes roasted, you're going to do them on separate trays, right? You're not going to put them together, mix them up, put them on the sheet pan, on one sheet pan with the chicken in the oven. No. And you're not going to lay the chicken on top of the vegetables. No. You're going to do everything separate, because when it gets on the plate, the chicken's going to be here, the potatoes are going to be here, and the carrots are going to be here. Everything structured, mise en place, everything in its place. From the Emperor, who wants you to nourish yourself, nourish all those around you with your kitchen magic. See you tomorrow.